The revelation of the revelation. The four Gospels explained by their writers by Jean-Baptiste Roustaing, 1881. Source: www.tinyurl.com/the four Gospels. The circumcision and purification. Luke, chapter 2, verses 21 to 24.
And when the 8 days were accomplished to circumcise the child, his name also was called Jesus, as he was named by the angel before he was conceived in the womb. And when the days of their purification were accomplished, according to the law of Moses, they brought him up to Jerusalem to present him to the Lord. As it is written in the law of the Lord, every male that openeth the womb shall be called holy to the Lord, and to offer a sacrifice according to that which is said in the law of the Lord, a pair of turtle doves, or 2 young pigeons.
Section 40. These words convey a lesson to those who rebel against the yoke imposed on them by religion, because they would desire to destroy the law rather than to fulfill it, when a new era opens before mankind at the appointed period. Observe that the parents of Jesus conformed to the established regulations, and submitted the little child to them. Never give cause for scandal, that is, do not scandalize your brothers by too hastily casting off the yoke which they bear. When you reconstruct an edifice with the materials of one which is on the point of falling, you do not explode a mine, for the broken materials would be blown away, and might cause serious mischief, but you take down every stone carefully, and lay it aside, throwing away those which are decayed, ready for use in the new building. And when you have made your selection, you commence the new work, replacing the stones which have crumbled away from lapse of time, by new and solid ones, strong enough to support the superincumbent weight. It is the same with moral renovation. You should not overturn beliefs and trample them underfoot inconsiderately, for the remains would injure you. You should displace them one by one, carefully preserving the true stones, which are needful to support the edifice, and rejecting all the false ones, which only tend to destroy it. The true stones which must be preserved are faith in God and submission to His law, in whatever language it is written, and under whatever form it is presented. If the religion under which you were born has taught you the love of God, no matter under what name, and has taught you to practice love and charity, the stones are true, and you should preserve them. But reject gradually, without fear or hesitation, everything which goes beyond the divine law. This is wholly and solely contained in the 2 commandments which include all the law and the prophets, the love of God above all things, and of the neighbor as yourself. To love the neighbor in all ways, and under all forms and circumstances, according to the material, moral, and intellectual order, whether he be known or unknown, friend or enemy, implies, according to these commandments, that everyone must be, and will be, rewarded according to his works. The clergy of every religion are strongly attached to it, and are interested in upholding it, and consequently those of every sect will cry anathema against this profession of faith which proceeds from Christ, and which undermines the sects, for the time is not far distant when men, notwithstanding the external religions which still keep them divided, will obey this divine law, and march forward as friends and brothers, upholding a banner inscribed with the motto, love and charity. But let the clergy talk and anathematize, for what can their dogmas, traditions, and ceremonies effect against the will of the Lord, and the progressive work of His Christ? Do they speak to the soul? Judging by the majority, and not speaking of any in particular, we may say that in general they do not, for men leave their respective churches as bad as when they entered them. Consequently, they only appeal to the senses, but the senses grow wearied and blunted, and what remains then? In general, still speaking of the majority of cases, and not specially applying our words to any in particular, their hearers become automata, kneeling, praying, and singing at stated intervals. There are men and children without faith, and old men without hope, who leave the churches, taking with them all the vices which they brought with them when they entered, vices springing from pride or selfishness, whether avarice, idleness, anger, intemperance, sensuality, luxury, slander, calumny, incredulity, materialism, intolerance, or fanaticism. These are the false stones which must be rejected, for the building crumbles down upon all the lies which uphold it. The only true cornerstones are faith in God and the practice of charity. Let these be sound and lasting. What is the exact meaning of the words, verse 21, before he was conceived in the womb? Before he was committed to the care of Mary, whom men regarded as his mother. The expressions in verse 21 resulted from the beliefs which, as we have explained in section 14, were intended to be temporarily received. In the eyes of men, Jesus was considered, during his earthly mission, to be the son of Mary and Joseph, but after the completion of his mission he was regarded as miraculously born of the Virgin Mary, through the operation of the Holy Spirit. The revelation of the revelation. The four Gospels explained by their writers by Jean-Baptiste Roustaing, 1881. Source: www.tinyurl.com/the4gospels.